On Freedom's Eve, or the eve of January 1st, 1863, the first Watts Night services took place. On that night, enslaved and free African Americans gathered in churches and private homes all across the country awaiting news that President Abraham Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation had taken effect. At the stroke of midnight, prayers were answered as all enslaved people in Confederate states were declared legally free. Only through the 13th Amendment did emancipation end slavery throughout the United States. But not everyone in Confederate territory would immediately be free. Even though the Emancipation Proclamation was made effective in 1863, it could not be implemented in places still under Confederate control. As a result, in the westernmost Confederate state of Texas, enslaved people would not be free until much later, more than 2 months after Confederate General Robert E. Lee surrendered to Union General Ulysses S. Grant in Virginia on June 19, 1865. That's when Union Major General Gordon Granger and some 2,000 Union troops, many of whom were black, marched onto plantations and across cities in the South, reading small copies of the Emancipation Proclamation, spreading the news of freedom in Confederate states to more than 250,000 enslaved black people in the state, that they were free by executive decree. This day came to be known as Juneteenth by the newly freed black people in Texas. Major General Granger delivered General Order No. 3, which said, "The people of Texas are informed that, in accordance with a proclamation from the Executive of the United States, all slaves are free. This involves an absolute equality of personal rights and rights of property between former masters and slaves, and the connection heretofore existing between them becomes that between employer and hired labor." Queen Mother Laura Smalley, freed from a plantation near Belleville, Texas, remembered in a 1941 interview that the man she referred to as Old Master came home from fighting in the Civil War and didn't tell the people he enslaved what had happened. Old Master didn't tell, they was free, Smalley said. I think now they worked them 6 months after that. 6 months. And turned them loose on the 19th of June. That's why, we celebrate that day. Freedom finally came on June 19th, 1865. For generations, black Americans have recognized the end of the darkest chapter in U.S. history with joy in the form of parades, street festivals, musical performances, or cookouts. The U.S. government was slow to embrace the occasion. It was only in 2021 President Biden signed a bill passed by Congress to set aside Juneteenth or June 19th as a federal holiday. Queen Mother Opal Lee, a former teacher and activist, is largely credited for rallying others behind a campaign to make Juneteenth a federal holiday. The 96-year-old had vivid memories of celebrating Juneteenth in East Texas as a child with music, food, and games. Happy Juneteenth, Freedom Day, brothers and sisters.